Hello, Algebra 1 class. Welcome to class and to your first video lesson. As you can see, I'm not able to make it to class with you guys today. I've got an important meeting I need to be at all day long. So you guys get to have your first video lesson with Mr. Chun ever. Well, welcome, and hopefully this class will still be very helpful for you. All right. Well, as always, let's go ahead and go over the content and language objectives for the day. That'll help us keep focused and give you an idea of what we're going to cover. So, today's lesson is section 3.3 from the book, Solve Multi-Step Equations. Our content objective for the day is that students will be able to solve multi-step equations. The language objective: students will be able to discuss and determine when to combine like terms and when to use the distribution property to solve multiple step equations. Alright, well, let's get right into it. Shall we? Here's example 1. Now take a moment and write down these two examples. Leave a bit of space between the problems so that we can work them out together. Teacher, if you'd like to pause at this point to give the students a minute or two to write them down, that'd be great. Okay, we're back. So let's go ahead and work out how to solve these two examples. The first example says to solve an equation by combining like terms. As you can see, we have two like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. Now remember, they don't have to do the hard work of jumping over a wall, which is the equal sign. They're on the same side already. So we're going to go ahead and combine these two like terms. There you go, you got your 5x. And let's go ahead and copy everything else down. Alright. Now moving on, the next step, of course, is to get rid of the one that's further away from the variable, so that's going to be the negative 10. We do the opposite operation or inverse operation of subtraction, and that's going to be addition. Add 10 to both sides, and then the 10s will cancel out, of course, and we're left with 5x equals 30. We still need to get rid of that pesky 5. We want the x all by itself. So remember, when two numbers are stuck on each other, that's multiplication. We're going to do the inverse of multiplication, which is division. So let's go ahead and divide both sides by that 5. Now our final result is that x equals 6. Hope you guys got that too. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at example 2. It says to solve an equation by using the distribution property, or distributive property. Now remember, when you have parentheses, at this point, even though you can't combine these like terms, there's something to be distributed. That's what's going to knock out those parentheses. Remember, in PEMDAS, P stands for parentheses, or any grouping symbol, so we got to deal with that first. So, let's distribute. We could show that by shooting the arrows. Okay, and then we get 2x plus 12. Now remember, distribution is just a type of multiplication. Don't forget, remember how I told you guys about Santa Claus coming to town? Everybody remembers to send it to the first kid here, 2 times x. But a lot of students forget to distribute 2 times 6, which is actually 12. So make sure that you get that in there. Alright? Now we still have to deal with the 7x on this side. So let's go ahead and copy that down. And set it equal to 39. We just copied it all down. At this point, it's just like example 1. We need to combine like terms. We get 9x plus 12 equals 39. And then we got to get rid of that 12. See how it's further away from the x than the 9 is? So we got to take that one out first. We're going to subtract 12 from both sides. And let's see what we get. 9x equals 27. At this point, go ahead and divide both sides by 9, and you get 27. Oop, nope, you get 3 actually, don't you? Alright, so those are the first two examples. It's all stuff you already know how to do. So let's move on. Alright, here's example 3. Now go ahead and write down the question here with the steps involved. and you don't have to pay attention too much to these answer choices. Students, you could write A, B, C, and D, because they are in your book if you want to look them up. So you don't have to spend a ton of time writing those down. But why don't you take a moment and write down the question and the steps with the blank and just the letters A, B, C, and D. All right? Teacher, if you want to go ahead and pause and let the students do that, that would be great. Okay, so back to the problem. It's given us a little bit of a note here, these elimination choices. So remember how we said that Santa Claus, when he comes to town, he's got to distribute to both the x and the negative 3. Everybody inside the parentheses gets a piece of that action. They get a negative 4. Well, this is making a note where that mistake has been made, where somebody's been forgotten. So it says that you can eliminate choices B and C because negative 4 has not been distributed to both terms in the parentheses. So let's take a look at B. See how that's still a 3 over there? That means that this negative 4 has not been affecting the negative 3 here. So that's why we could get rid of B right off the bat. Now C, it's still a 3. Even though it's positive, it hasn't changed much. So we could get rid of that one too. So really it boils down to A or D. Well, let's see what happens. You shoot those arrows. Don't forget, when we multiply through, it's not just a 4, but it's a negative 4. Okay? Negative times a positive is a negative, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So let's see what we get. Negative 4x plus 12. Copy in the rest. And that's all you have to do for this one. And which one does it match up with? Well, that would be choice D. All right. Let's go ahead and move forward. These are the guided practice examples that I'd like you to do in your groups. So if that's okay with the teacher to move into your groups, that sounds good to me. But if the teacher wants you to stay in rows, that's up to the teacher. So listen to the teacher's instructions, and I want you to work on this. And teacher, if you want to give a few minutes for them to work on this, maybe about 5 or 6 minutes at least, and you could monitor their progress, that would be great. It'd be a good time to pause the video right now. Okay, so you're back, and let's go ahead and walk through this. I'm going to show you how I did them. Combine the like terms, you get 7D plus 4 equals 32. Take away 4 from both sides, you get 7D equals 28. Divide both sides by 7, and D equals 4. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Well, as you can see here, we can't combine like terms until we do the distributive property, right? It's kind of like example number 2. So let's go ahead and distribute. Shoot those arrows. Alright, don't forget that 12. Remember, 3 times 4 is important. Copy the rest of it down. And then combine like terms. Take away 12 from both sides. 5W equals 15, and then to knock it out, you just divide both sides by 5. Your result is that W equals 3. Let's look at the last one here. We've got a negative 2 to distribute, and don't forget that it's negative. So go ahead and shoot those arrows again. We get negative 2x plus 10. Copy the rest of it down. Combine like terms. Take away 10 from both sides. 4x equals 36. Divide both sides by 4. And you get x equals 9. Now if I went too fast on any of that, I'll ask the teacher to go ahead and leave these examples up, or you could actually move back on the playback and that'll be fine. So the lesson's done. Here's your assignment. And go ahead, make sure that you write down this assignment in your calendar right away. And as you can see, I was able to put in all of the problems on this slide. So if you want, you could write them down on your paper right now. But you all have textbooks by now, so you have them at home as well. If you want, you could go one by one, and then don't have to worry about copying them all down, which takes a good chunk of time. Or if you want, you can go ahead and just copy the whole thing down, leaving plenty of space for each one to show your work. All right? Either way works for me. Just make sure that your work gets shown on your paper. Also, keep in mind that you want to listen to the teacher's directions. If I were there, I would have you guys move into groups or stay in groups to work on this. And then be sure to move back out of groups 5 minutes before class is done. But if the teacher wants you to stay in rows and columns, then you will respect the teacher's instructions. All right. Well, be good to the teacher, be good to each other, and hopefully you guys will get some good practice in. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Now remember, I will be checking both homework assignments, both the one that was due today and this one that I just assigned. I'll be checking them both when I come back tomorrow. So be sure to be ready for me to stamp them tomorrow on your calendars. All right, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.